Well, good afternoon. This is the regular monthly meeting of the Education and Outreach and Training Committee of the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force. I'm Sue Cawthon, the chair. To my far left is Doyle Johnson. And to my near left is Allison Washburn. To my right is Hanley Chan, and to his right is Marjorie Williams. At the table on your left is Ernie Lorente, our attorney, and to your right is Chris Rustum, our administrator. So, Mr. Rustum, would you take roll call, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. Member Cawthon?
Here.
Member Cawthon present. Member Chan?
Here.
Member Chan present. Member Johnson?
Here.
Member Johnson present. Member Williams? Here. Member Williams present. Member Washburn?
Here.
Member Washburn present. Madam Chair, there is a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Are there any agenda changes?
There are no agenda changes.
Okay, great.
Madam Chair.
Then would you call the first item, please?
Item number 1 is the adoption of minutes of March 12, 2009 regular meeting and acceptance of notes taken during the April 9, 2009 information gathering session.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments on our March minutes and our April notes?
No.
Okay.
I've reviewed them and they look fine.
Okay, great. So then without objection,
You should call a roll first time, and then after that you could have without objection.
okay, why don't we have a roll call on the March minutes and the April notes? Any public comment on the March minutes or the April notes? Okay, seeing none, then we will go to a roll call vote.
On the motion, Member Chan?
Aye.
Member Chan, aye. Member Johnson?
Aye.
Member Johnson, aye. Member Williams? Member Williams, aye. Member Washburn?
Aye.
Member Washburn, aye. Member Cawthon?
Aye.
Member Cawthon, aye. Madam Chair, we have 5 ayes.
Okay, the minutes and notes are approved. Would you call item number 2, please?
Item number 2 is the hearing on the status of the April 28, 2009 order of determination of Raymond Banks against the SF-HIV Health Services Planning Council.
Okay, and I guess we need to hear from Mr. Lee from the HIV Council. The order of determination was that the documents were not provided in a timely fashion, so Mr. Banks, Mr. Lee has asked for a training, which we're delighted to provide. So, Mr. Banks, please. Mr. Lee.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't actually know I was supposed to be speaking today. I thought this was a training today. And I actually went looking for the agenda on Tuesday, and I couldn't find it on the website.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When
did we post that agenda?
The agenda was posted on Monday afternoon.
Okay. Yeah, basically we're just, what we do is usually just talk to the department or the agency and ask how we can help you to deal with the issue that got you here. And you've asked me if we could have some training, and we're very happy to provide it. We have a little package which I showed you ahead of before the meeting, and if you could call me tomorrow and we can just figure out some dates, and then anybody who wants to can come, and we'll come and talk to we'd be delighted to come and talk to your people.
That sounds great.
And I gave you my card. So, Mr. Lorente.
Yes, I believe this is fortuitous. As part of our agenda, we have the presentations, the PowerPoint that we have done in the past. And if he could be provided with a copy of that, that would be a starting point he could look at.
Did you bring any extra copies? Okay, just give Mr. Lee a copy. This is what we'll be working from. So I'll be looking forward to hearing from you, and we'll set something up.
Great.
Good
Thank
enough. Yeah, okay. Is Mr. Banks here? Does he want to say anything?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Okay.
First of all, I would like to suggest, to simply state that the problem with the request for information or access to information is systemic. I apologize for not having the notes emailed, but I just would like to read something from one of the Rights and Responsibilities meeting. It was dated July 17, 2008, and was attended by the co-chairs and who were here before, and council support. Council support exists to help council members, committees transact their council-related business. The council supports the local, state, and federal mandates for retrieving public documents. When a council member wants to request information larger than a simple phone number, it says simple phone number or email request, the council member makes the request through a standing committee which must agree to support the request. Initially, the council member makes a request of the committee co-chairs. If the committee co-chairs agree, the request is forwarded to council support. If the co-chairs do not agree to support the request, the council member may request that the entire committee vote to support the request of the information. If the committee votes yes, the request is forwarded to council support, or the public custodian in this case. If the committee votes no, the request is stopped and no request is made to council support. So it was stated in the last meeting that this just happened because someone is out on leave of absence. That's not correct. I have another document which I'd like to bring forth, and it was September 16, 2008 from council support. I'm through. It's from council support. It says full agenda and minutes information as well as other handouts, if they are in-house at the time of the email notices, are sent to the San Francisco Main Public Library for each council meeting and each committee meeting. The information is also sent to the HIV Health Services Yahoo group, which I believe you are a member of, and each committee member at the same time, or the full council is applicable. I went over to the library and I had them pull up, the online version of what minutes were there and what minutes were not there. I pulled up the minutes for the membership meeting, and the minutes from February 2008 to August 2008 were not there, according to this printout. When I looked up the membership meeting going back to 2006, the minutes for 2006, 3-6 was not there, 10-6 was not there. For 2008, 6-8 was not there, 7-8 was not there. Finally, I have one more document to read, if you don't mind. This email will acknowledge your telephone message request for historical council demographic information focusing on ethnicity and gender and individuals who have left the council since 2004 to present, as I understand your message. We are unable to comply with this request for the following. I have serious concerns about disclosing potentially confidential demographic information. I'm through?
Okay, thank you, yeah. I just wanted to mention that...
Madam Chair, could you speak into the microphone?
Sorry. I just wanted to mention that, yes, thank you, Mr. Banks. I just wanted to, did you have something to say, Mr. Lee? I think.
Sure.
Go ahead.
In response to some of the things he mentioned that were missing, I definitely would like to apologize for that to the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force. We had a giant transition of personnel, including myself, and more than half the department last July and August. So now that this has been brought to our attention, we'll gladly take care of this.
Okay.
So.
I had another question. Mr. Laurenti, didn't we determine that this body was a policy body?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So I just wanted to note that as a policy body, a request for a document should be fulfilled within the parameters of the Sunshine Ordinance. If it is indeed a public document, it shouldn't have to go through various layers. So that's something that we will say when we come and talk to your training people.
And if I could just add one thing. The demographic information he's asking for council members is not available because we've never actually tracked it. So we can't give him information that we don't track. And that's why he has not been able to get that information.
Okay. I'm just trying to think, is there any other way you might, what is the demographic information he wants? Age? Ethnic?
I believe he's looking for age, race, and the name and contact information for these particular people over a 15-year period. And we only have a database that goes back, in my understanding, 3.5 years, and we don't track all those things.
What do you track?
We do have race, the person's name, private contact information, but they understand that it is private contact information, and that we generally don't give it out to people for their own privacy and protection.
If he can contact the people through your...
I would be happy to, if he knows who he would like to contact, he could send me a list of those people, and I'd be happy to contact them. But once again, he's asking for us to give him names and for a particular race and for the last 15 years. And since we've never tracked that information, we only use ethnic background and race to fulfill a demographic that is federally mandated.
So you do have some information available?
We do for, I would say, approximately 3.5 years.
Could you give him that? If it's not, if it's a public...
We would have to contact all of these individuals first to see if they allow, that's the agreement that we have with them, because we don't generally release their phone numbers.
I don't mean the contact information. I mean the other information that is generic rather than just tied to one particular person. I mean,
Sure,
for the last 2.5 years, do you have a percentage of how many people are between 18 and 30, and
we do.
How many
and we
people
can
are
easily give him that.
Caucasian?
We just
If
can't-
you could give him that for the last 2.5 years, that would certainly wouldn't that be satisfactory, Mr. Laurenti?
I would think so. They can give what they have. That is
Yeah,
not privileged.
just give them what you have.
Okay.
That is not private.
That's great.
Because we understand the privacy factor as well. And Mr. Banks is now aware that he can contact all the people by sending an email to your department asking you to distribute it to them. Okay. Well, so I say, we'd be happy to come and talk to you and work from that document that you were given, and we could just kind of explain, what the Sunshine Ordinance is and what it covers and what the rights of the public are and the responsibilities of the public and what the rights of the departments are and what their responsibilities are as well.
Great.
Good. Does anybody else have any questions, comments, ideas? Allison?
No, I think you've covered everything I could think of as well.
All right. Then I'm very satisfied with the way this is working out, and we'll come and talk to you, and then we'll continue working to see if Mr. Banks is getting, what is available.
Sure.
So I just wanted to, thank you, Mr.
Madam
Lee.
Chairman, I just want to make sure that, he's here for, some people here for training, I understand, but you thought you were here from training. And Mr. Banks, you're here to let us know that you have additional information. You have additional information.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Laurenti?
I think that what should be, on the table too is that Mr. Banks filed a new complaint, which we heard at the full task force meeting.
Yes.
And so that actually, he mentioned some of that, but that's not appropriate for this committee.
Right.
It will be heard at the full task force.
Right.
That's where I was
What we're
getting mixed up.
focusing on here is the order of determination from the last task force, which was that records request. Whatever happens at the new meeting, that's a separate issue. So we are going to meet with the council and give them some training. And is it appropriate for Mr. Banks to come too and find out what is?
Most definitely.
Yeah. So
As a
when we get this set up, we can advise Mr. Banks as well, and he can come and sit in on the training. That'd be good. Okay.
Is there a time limit that we're looking toward?
What's that?
Is there a time limit that we're looking toward?
What do you mean time limit?
I mean, when we will be given this training and Mr. Banks will be sitting in.
Well, we're going to try and set something up in the next month, right?
Right. I'm going to contact the
within the-
co-chair
Yeah,
tomorrow.
we're going to talk together
And then we'll
and-
see
Yeah.
what schedules match
That'd be
up
great.
and do it as soon as possible.
All right.
Okay, good enough.
you.
Okay. So, Mr. Banks, I don't know, do we have regular rebuttal? I don't know how we do this here.
Not really, because this is not a full complaint. This is basically a report as far as what's
yeah.
going on. And so I
Okay.
think,
That's what
I think what's been presented is it. I don't
Yeah,
think there's a need for rebuttal.
I think.
I would like to make a couple of points because he made some statements that were incorrect. I had the email here. I've only asked for information from 2004. I didn't ask for telephone numbers and names. I only asked for ethnic, demographic, and ethnic information. The reason I presented this information to you, the way it was presented last time, it seemed that, the reason that I did not get the information was because someone was out of the office. That is not correct. This email is from February 5th, 2008. That's almost over a year and a half ago. So I just want to bring that to the committee's attention, that this is a systemic problem.
Okay.
And thank you.
When you think you'll be able to come to some training on the Sunshine Ordinance? That might be a helpful way of everybody kind of getting on a level playing field, and
I'm on a membership committee, and I've already suggested at the last meeting that we engage Sunshine in the training, not only as far as release of information, but in regards to seriatim meetings too. So, I suggested it at the last membership meeting. So hopefully something will happen.
Okay.
That's about it. Thanks.
Okay. So we'll work on this particular complaint and getting it satisfied and getting it, and then we'll hear about your new complaint at the task force meeting later this month. So I want to thank Mr. Lee and Mr. Banks for appearing today, and we're happy we can work it out. Okay. Can we go to that then on to the next item, which is number 3?
Madam Chair, please be aware that we may have to call an adjournment in about 5 minutes.
I can't hear you.
We may have to call a meeting adjournment in about 5 minutes
Why is that?
because we have to switch rooms.
Can't we stay here?
No, because someone has it at 4:30.
Okay, I just want to apologize to the audience and to the members, but we usually have the room next door, and through some slip-up, the people who were supposed to vacate it at 4 o'clock didn't vacate it. So rather than call off the meeting when all of you good people are down here, I said, find us another room for half an hour. So we were found another room for half an hour. So here's the deal. When we hear that the Assessment Appeals Board has vacated our regular meeting room, we will adjourn this and walk next door. So, can you confirm that that the room is ready for us before we cancel this meeting, before we adjourn this meeting?
I'll have to go and check.
Okay. In the meantime, could you call number 3?
Item number 3 is the hearing on the status of the April 28, 2009 order of determination of Steve Lawrence against the SFPUC.
Okay. Is Mr. Lawrence here or Mr. Winokur? Anybody? Oh, hi. Okay.
Hi, committee members. My name is Joseph Singh, and I'm representing the PUC Communications Division.
I didn't get your last name.
Joseph Singh. It's S-I-N-G-H.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm representing the PUC Communications Division.
Okay.
On behalf of Mr. Winokur.
Right.
Shall I proceed?
So the issue has to do with the fact that we found that Mr. Lawrence didn't get his documents in a timely fashion. I believe that was the issue, and so we're here to see what the PUC can do to work on that situation.
Well, first off, we accept the order of determination by the task force that we were late in submitting the documents to Mr. Lawrence, and what we have put in place with regard to that is a daily, actually a log for incoming Sunshine requests and in Microsoft Excel. And I actually have copies of it here. I apologize, I only have 4 copies. I don't know if that's enough for everybody because I wasn't sure how big the committee was going to be. So I could pass that out if that helps with...
Okay, fine.
So, and it also contains other information of what the PUC Communications Division has on Sunshine and how it views Sunshine and what Sunshine entails. And this a sample of this Excel log is right at the end of the packet. Also, the way that we handle our Sunshine requests is we have a specific Outlook email account specifically for public records requests, and we get our email requests that way, and we create folders for that particular request, and we put all corresponding emails with regard to that particular request in its respective folder. And I've been with this division for about a little over 4 months now. And from what I know, we keep, I'm not sure exactly how long the folders are kept there, but I know they've kept there for a very long time. And so we can always go back to our email records of what actually happened for each particular request. So that's how basically we deal with the requests via email. And if for example, in the rare circumstance where we get a request via a letter or through regular mail, we scan the document, put it in our hard drive, and then email a copy to public records, and from there also create a folder for that particular request. So basically we have an electronic version of that hard copy letter. And like I said, this is the best way we could come up with in terms of keeping track of all the correspondence for a particular sunshine request. And the log is our best way that we've come up with of dealing with or keeping track of the status of all the requests. And if you look at our logs, you'll notice that...
I'm afraid your time is up. I just, Mr. Laurenti?
Yes, well, I don't think Mr. Lawrence is here, and basically this is a report. So if the committee wants to hear more about it, you could ask him the question. He can continue.
I was going to ask him a question. But is Mr. Lawrence here? Yeah, because I mean, our purpose is not to determine whether is to work with the department to make it easier to make sure they have a process in place that enables them to fulfill sunshine requests in a timely fashion. So. You've only been with them for 4 months, and I forget the length of time that Mr. Lawrence's request took, but it was quite a long time. And we did determine that there wasn't timely production. So if you want to continue on about what protections you have in place for producing
Sure.
public records.
I just have a little bit more to say, and
Okay.
I'll continue talking about our log, and that's the way like I said, that's the best mechanism we've come up with to keep track of the requests and when they've come in, when they are due to the requester, which ones are left outstanding. And if you look at the sample of our log in the back of the packet, you'll notice that the shaded requests say pending. So those are the outstanding requests. So at a glance, you can get a quick look at it. You could get an idea as to, okay, what's been completed and submitted and what's still outstanding.
So what was the problem with Mr. Lawrence's request? What broke down?
Well, basically, when I first came on board, for about 2 months, I was the only one handling sunshine requests, and the thing was, that's not all that I do.
Right.
I'm a management assistant, so I also take care of accounts payable issues for the entire communications division. And needless to say, it's a lot of work, and sort of getting used to the workflow and all of that took a little while. And I for the most part, I feel like I've transitioned into the position, but of course, it's an ongoing process. Each day is not the same, and you can't always predict what's going to happen. So that was a good chunk of it, and now we've also got a secretary that we've just brought on about a couple of months ago, and she's taken some of the sunshine responsibility as well.
Is that Suzanne Gaultier?
No, Suzanne is my supervisor.
Because she is wonderful. She provided some material that wasn't required, because you aren't required to create documents. But she did create documents. I forget whether it was in this case, but in another case. And we were very satisfied with Ms. Gaultier at the last Sunshine Task Force meeting that she was going over it above and beyond. But what we would like to know, and I think Ms. Washburn wants to say something, we need to know that you've got a process in place, that the new secretary is working, that there is a process in place for a response within the required 10 days. And if someone makes an immediate disclosure request, that is turned around in some fashion by the end of the next business day, because there is a requirement on departments to produce documents in a timely fashion, and we realize it's difficult when a person is busy and has other things to do, but that it is incumbent upon the department to make the time so that the custodian of records or the person in charge of the sunshine request is able to comply with that request. Ms. Washburn?
I was just going to say that we might review the materials they've provided us. We just got them, and give you some advice or suggestions if need be. At first glance, it looks very systematic and like an excellent way to track requests and so forth. But we might take that on to help you.
Okay.
You know what we could do? We could continue this item. Then we could all take a look at it, and you could maybe talk with the secretary and see if together the two of you could devise, a plan for following this document, so that in the future you don't have problems with Mr. Lawrence or that Save Our Environment those Save Our Richmond Environment people soar. And then could you come back next month?
Sure. Just as an added note, the log was something that we started using after these incidences happened, in response to
Right.
Well,
these
if you could
incidents.
possibly, yeah.
And it's helped a lot, because it's like, it's just like I said, just by looking at it, you can eyeball and see, okay, what's left outstanding, what's completed.
Right.
And it makes it a lot easier, and
Good.
therefore making our response time faster.
Well, it would have been good if you had been able to get this to Mr. Rustum, our administrator, in time for it to go out in the package, because I always read every single page in the
Okay.
package. So I would have been able to make an evaluation, and so would our attorney, Mr. Lorente. So if you could possibly do us the honor of coming back again next month after we've had a chance to read it.
Sure.
And Mr. Rustum, would you be sure and put in the minutes that Chair Cawthon said everybody should read this document so that we will have an idea of the efficacy of their new plan? And if you could come back, we would really appreciate it. Ms.
definitely do that.
Washburn, and then Ms. Williams.
I just wanted to say that in a month's time you'll have some more data about how it's going, this system, and I'm thinking I would like to know how other departments track requests too. It may be that you have a good system that would benefit other agencies in the city and other bodies too. So
Okay.
I think we can
gladly come back.
be very constructive here in a number of ways.
Sure.
And then Ms. Williams.
Yes, I just want to say, Mr. Singh, you just passed this out. The first few pages that you pass out, is this something that you derive from your interpretation from Sunshine?
No, it's to be honest with you, it was something that was already in place before I got there, so I had nothing to do in terms of putting it together.
Who put this package together for you?
I would have to talk to my superiors on that, like Tony Winokur and Suzanne.
Okay.
Go TA. So yeah.
I appreciate you being here, but it is important, Chris, for not only for Sue to see, the members would like to see the documents and read over what what you say. So we appreciate you coming and
Very
bringing
welcome.
us what you do have.
Okay.
You're welcome.
And I wanted to give you another tip. You have the secretary of the commission, I believe, is a man named Mike Housh,
That's right.
Housh. Mike used to be the secretary of the library commission, and I would say half of his job was filling sunshine requests. And if you want to know from anybody how you keep that sunshine process flowing, Mike Housh, you tell him I sent you. He is really the king of sunshine, so he would give you some real good ideas.
Okay. He is a very
And he's
good
a
person.
very nice guy to boot.
Thank you.
So great. Well, thank you. What? Oh,
I just
Mr.
want to say,
Chan.
I really want to commend the SFPUC for doing sunshine, because they're always receptive of sunshine and they always come through. And I think this is the few departments that really really come through and really the diligence on sunshine and really a proponent for sunshine. So
Right.
I really commend the
Thank you
department for that.
Thank you.
Well, we certainly are. I'm looking forward to reading this, and I'm looking forward to see what we could put in the minutes that that this chair advised that Mr. Mike Hausch, Housh, the Secretary of the Commission, PUC Commission, be consulted as well. So, yeah. I mean, as I say, he really is good on Sunshine. He did it for 10 or 15 years at the library, and I mean, he had Sunshine requests constantly. So, okay. Anybody else have anything? Okay, then we will just thank you very much, and we'll see you next month. And
Is this also covering number 4, since that's the same issue?
What's number 4?
It's the SORE and the SFPUC.
SOR?
Yeah.
People?
So I think it's the same information.
Are you going to be talking about this?
I believe, from what I know, it's the same issue, but with a different requester.
Is there anybody here from SOR, S-O-R-E? Is Mr. Fat here? No. And they didn't come to the Sunshine Task Force hearing either. But the assumption is that what works for the Lawrence complaint will also work for the SOR complaint.
Right.
Okay, good. So we'll read the document, and thank you for coming.
Thanks.
We'll
for
see you
your
next time.
Appreciate it.
Great. Okay. So now we can skip on. Oh, now do we want to go move next door? I mean, can we stay here
We can stay here till about 5 o'clock,
until 5?
till the next
Okay.
party comes in.
Okay. Well, we'll just play it. We'll wing it, people.
we'll
We're
just
sort of this is the itinerant committee, right?
We're the recalcitrant, overstaying people.
Okay. So the next item is then number. What is it?
Item number 5 is the presentations for the Coalition of San Francisco Neighborhoods on May 19th.
Okay. Well, I'm afraid we got bumped by the president of the Board of Supervisors. They had asked me for a presentation of 25 to 30 minutes, but possibly longer, because David Chu is coming to talk. And they weren't sure what time he would get. They're on a Tuesday, and they weren't sure what time he would get out of the supervisors meeting, so I said, sure, fine. But then I had a call yesterday from the president saying that could we drop it to 15 minutes, because they weren't sure something. So I just said, we never did touch base, and I said that 15 minutes is not enough time, so that we'd rather do it in June. And so we will be pushing for June. But in the meantime, we had a request from Mr. Lee of the HIV Council to make a presentation for him, and they really want us to come, and so we'll be doing that. So I would like people to think about, do we have any more loose copies of this Good Day Sunshine thing that's it starts on page 27 of the packet? Because somehow we have to devise a presentation. I mean, Marjorie and I did this a long time ago, but how long ago was that, Marjorie? 10 years ago?
No, it hasn't been that long. Maybe it's about 7.
Well, just after the new Sunshine, just after Prop G passed. So, if anybody has any ideas, I don't know if everybody wants to do it, but I think everybody should come and try, and then I'm going to try and sort of organize it and see so maybe we can all have a small part. Mr. Chan?
Is this an organization for education of Sunshine to other?
What we're going to do, one of our purposes in the work plan, which is at the end of our packet, is to present the Sunshine, explain the Sunshine document to neighborhood organizations or groups that ask for.
I want to announce a very highly respected person in this room right now from the Glen Park neighborhood, Ann Grogan over there. And her community doesn't know anything about Sunshine.
Oh, really?
And if she wants to come over here and kind of introduce herself.
Yeah, maybe we could have her for, it could be great.
Good afternoon. I can't really say for certain that our neighborhood is not that aware, but I suspect that many people in Glen Park are not. Recently, I've become active involving some community safety issues, and as a result, it raised a question on the Sunshine Law and access to certain information. I approached Officer Chan to give me some guidance, and Chris was quite helpful to me as well. the other day in guiding me to locate it on the web. I didn't even know the law was there, and to find out ways to pursue my inquiry and/or complaint. So it occurred to me that it might be very useful for me to communicate to our Glen Park Association of Neighbors for a presentation. I know that we have various city groups and departments to come and give brief educational sessions so that the citizenry becomes familiar with what our rights are.
Well, see,
I think we would appreciate it, and I'd certainly be willing to
That's great.
inquire.
No, we're just starting. This is a new. We just have a new mission, and I'm the new chair. So we're very keen on going out to neighborhood organizations and making a presentation. In fact, we were set to do it for the Coalition for SSF Neighborhoods, which I think the Glen Park Association belongs to, or used to.
Perhaps.
And,
I'm a new
we'll
member, so I'm not quite aware.
But Zoanne Nordstrom, is she still involved with the Glen Park Association?
I think she may be. The president is Michael Rice.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I'm in communication with him and would be happy to make contact and communicate with you or Officer
Yeah, please
Chan
do.
or
You know,
whoever.
you can get my information through our administrator, Chris Rustum, and just let us know some date when you meet and what you need and how long, and we'll work up a presentation. We'd be delighted to come and do that.
Yes, would she give her name and her full name and where she's
Yeah.
from?
Could you just spell it again?
My name is Ann Grogan, Grogan,
Okay.
and my address is 2912 Diamond Street, Suite 239, San Francisco 94131. 587-3863 is my telephone number.
And your organization?
587-3863.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the Glen Park Residents Association, called the Glen Park Association. I do not represent them, but I am a member. We're probably one of the most active, if not the most active, resident associations in San Francisco. We have between 70 and 100 people come to our meetings quarterly. So it might be a very beneficial opportunity for you and for us as well.
Definitely. Well, we'd be delighted. So follow up, and thank you, Hanley, for Officer Chan, for bringing this to our attention. Great.
Yeah, I just want to thank Ann
Thank you for coming, yes.
for coming.
Does anybody else have any comments, thoughts? One of the things we were trying to do is reach out to people, and we had talked about the League of Women Voters and if they are ripe for something. We haven't done anything before the League of Women Voters since I was last on this committee, so I would say that was probably 7 years ago, and it was one of the general meetings that they had in the Northern Police Station, and we came and made a presentation, 15 minutes or so, and then took questions. So if you're in touch with them, do you think this is something they'd be interested in?
Well, I'm currently on the board of directors,
Right.
actually along with Suzanne Gauthier, by the way.
Oh, really? Okay, good.
And this is something I've mentioned. Well, Kristen Chu, too, is on the board.
Right.
And this is something I've mentioned to different board members. And we were one of the proponents of this, of Prop G. So this would be an ideal project for the League. Also, the League has a Speakers Bureau, very active during the elections season, but could also be mobilized for presentations.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely think we should enlist their help. And I also wanted to say that I really enjoy public speaking, so
Good.
I'd like to be a part of this.
Yeah, definitely. So, I'm still in the process of, we've got to work something up that we've got to figure out. We got to work up a lesson plan. so
Right,
to
lesson
speak.
plan, right.
But,
And
done it. Marjorie and I have done it before, so we can do
Madam
it
Chair,
again.
and I just want to say, I saw Mr. Banks at a function, and I mean, he was really on Sunshine. I said, who is this man talking about Sunshine? Because I really couldn't remember his face, but he was just so enthused, and and he was really pumping us up, and that was the first person that I've heard really talk so great about us. So I could just say, and the PUC. So word is really getting out about people, can come to the Sunshine, and that's what we want. So the more that we get out and not if we find in violation for or against, as long as we talk to people and communicate with people, that's, and they understand, then they can gear others to the right direction. And that's what he was doing. And that's why I was so surprised to see him here today. I say, you trying to take one of our jobs, So the word is getting out in a good way about, it's about sunshine, and I'm happy about that.
Okay, good. All right, then we'll go on to the next. Anybody have anything further to any groups they might think we should approach? Well, I think we'll take one thing at a time. Mr. Laurenti, yeah.
Just build on success, deal with one, then build off of that, and it grows.
Exactly.
So let's see what happens the first
That's
time.
how it happens, yeah. Okay. Then we'll go on to the next item, which is number 6, the brochure. Oh, good, you brought some. Good. Did you bring the new ones? Oh, good. Because I have a copy of the old one, which I'll pass around. And I didn't edit, so it's kind of messy.
Some new ones.
Well, this is great. Thank you very much, Mr. Rusko. It starts on page 74 in our packet. Let's see. So if you want to just take a quick look at the changes I made. One of the main things I did is on page 1, where it says I inserted key sunshine provisions, and I put that right up near the top. And I just, I said the public has a right to inspect and copy documents. Public has a right to attend and testify at meetings, has a right to make an immediate disclosure request, and will hold hearings on violations. So those are, I think, the key things about sunshine. And if anybody can think of anything else, I'm happy to add it. So, Mr. Chan, if you have finished with that, we could pass it on to the other side. Okay. Yes. This is just my edit.
I haven't had a chance to do any editing, but I have a couple of things I know I'll
Okay.
recommend.
Okay.
I think we discussed about letting members of the public know what we don't do, so what matters don't come before us. So
Okay.
we need some language about that.
Okay. Why don't you draft something?
Okay.
If you don't have too much, we have space. See, we have space on page 5 and 6. So if you could draft like four sentences.
Okay.
We can't adjudicate your issue for you.
Okay.
Great. So we can insert that. Anybody else? Ideas? Ernie? Well. So anyway, getting back to page 2, and then I just put in procedures for hearings, and that could be cut short. We picked up a lot of what was there, but we added new stuff and we rearranged it to put the things that the people would like to know at the front. Yeah, we simplified it. Yeah. Then on page 4 we have membership. That doesn't really have to be in, but it's there. It's in now. Then at the end, on page 5, we talk about how you. Wait a minute. On page 2, it says procedures for petitions for hearings, and it says it on 5 also. So we're going to have to change that heading. Let's see. Yeah. I don't know why we have the same. Has everybody got that green? Everybody threw that green? The green?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the title on page 2 needs to be changed then.
What can we put, Ernie?
We have procedures for petitions for hearing. That really isn't what it is.
What is it?
It should be. It should be Sunshine Task Force hearing.
Sunshine what?
hearing, the task force hearings,
Okay, SOTF,
hearings.
SOTF hearings, okay. And then number, on page 5, it's okay to leave that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I'm wondering if the history could not be moved to another page so that know your rights and then the key sunshine provisions fit on the front
I think
page.
you're right. Sure, we could move that. Where do you want to move it? Toward the end?
Actually, it could be right after the rights, because it does set the context for this, and then the procedures for or whatever we decide
I
to
think
call.
know your rights, that's important, but I also think key sunshine, don't you think key, I think key.
No, I think on the front page, like I said, we could take history out, then this paragraph about knowing your rights, and then the key provisions. That could probably all fit on the front page.
Right, good.
Yeah.
And then
At the top
I
of
would
page
put frankly, I would put the history at the end. I mean, it does give us some gravitas, but the presumption is that the people who are hearing this from us already think we have gravitas.
Right.
So where does everybody want to put history, Ernie? Do we put
I think
it?
you're right. We could put it in the back because
Yeah.
people want to know right up front what they can do. They don't need history.
Yeah.
History could be helpful at later on as in context, but
So do we
people
want to? Sorry.
that should be on the last page.
Do we want history before membership or after? After? Because I don't see membership as key, but it's there because it's filler. So we could put history after membership, or after. No, wait a minute. We should
After membership, right?
or after. How about after procedures for public hearings? No, wait a
I
minute.
think it's page 6. I mean, like at the very end.
Doyle,
Yeah.
at the very end.
History is in the past, so
Okay.
that would be like. I agree with Mr. Lorente.
Yeah.
That's just background. So
Yeah.
Where do you want to move it? Before, see the back page, number 6. See the part that's in boldface? Could it go before that? Does that fit there?
Yeah.
Because
Behind the
we,
right before the address.
right before the address.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, history.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that pages 2, 3, and 4, when people open up the brochure, should, perhaps be devoted to procedures that they need to understand so that they can file complaints and know what to expect if they have a hearing. Procedural information that they know how to exercise their rights. That I think the inside should be devoted to that.
Okay.
Well, then page 5 should be in number 2, page 2 then.
In other words, procedures for, how about, in other words, on page 5 it says procedures for petitions for hearings. Well, why don't we move that to page 2 after sunshine provisions? And how about hearings for noncompliance? Could we call it that? What do you think, Ernie?
Oh, I should be task force hearings on complaints of non-compliance, rather than assuming that they're non-compliant. That's
Right.
the complaint.
Okay.
Right, that's good.
So we'll just say, where it says Sunshine Task Force hearings, that's already on page 2. We would just move procedures for petitions for hearings to that area?
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll delete that title. We'll have to do something with that. All right. So that goes to 2 under SOTF hearings. Okay. Let's see. So that goes there, procedures for hearings, and then but this just says if the custodian of records doesn't comply, the person making the request can petition the task force for a determination whether the record request is public. Nobody ever does that. They just come to us for a hearing. So I agree that that is out of place, but maybe we should shorten that and combine it with SOTF hearings on page 2. Let's see. Any ideas at the moment? It's hard to do this on the spot, but I could work on it, and if Allison wants to work on it also.
Sure. Yeah.
Why don't you, Allison, why don't you take this problem of number 2 and number 5
Okay.
and somehow combine them, because it seems like they're the same. You just say, what we're trying to say in the thing on number 5 is that if you don't like what the custodian tells you, you can ask the task force if the record is public. That's like one line. And then if that doesn't work out, but you also can go directly to the task force for a hearing.
Right.
So if you could do that and then get it to me by, what is today, the 14th? Could you get it to me by, in a week? Could you get it to me by the 21st?
A week from today.
Yeah, I just like to
Thursday.
give deadlines because then people tend to do things.
Sure, right.
So I'm going to write down that Allison,
If you haven't heard from me, nag me.
well, you do get it to me. Or you, Ernie, or somebody put in the minutes that Allison's going to get it to me by May 21st, and I'll have the minutes by then, right? So let's see, Allison to combine SOTF hearings, page 2, with procedures for hearings, page 5, and do it by 5/21. Okay, great.
Could I just add a suggestion, at least on page 2? It needs to, the paragraph that says if the custodian refuses or fails to comply within
Right.
5 days, it's not clear. I just would suggest in the development of the section that if you say if the custodian refuses or fails to comply with an order of determination, the task force may do the following, you know.
Okay. May notify.
Ethics, DA, AG.
Right, here it reads. If the custodian refuses or fails to comply with the order of determination, wait a minute, shall immediately order. Okay, I would say with this, the paragraph before says upon determination the record is public, the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force shall immediately order the custodian of the public record to comply. Then the next paragraph, if the custodian refuses or fails to comply with this order of determination, because we're what we're referring to in the last paragraph is the order of determination. Within 5 days, the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force may notify ethics, DA, or AG. Okay.
I don't agree with that. When you put that "may" in there, it makes it weaker.
But that's the reality.
I just,
That's the reality. All of these cases don't automatically go to these.
and again, it was very, with the few little problems that Allison brought out. When I'm looking at something and when I'm teaching, the first thing is, what are you teaching about? What is this all about? Mm-hmm. So I like the way where the history was. What is sunshine?
Yeah, but I think...
I mean, you could put it where you want to, but people, you know, it just caught my eye as the first thing. A lot of people don't even know what sunshine is. I mean, it could be good government, open government, what it is, but when you say sunshine.
Madam
I think
Chair.
we could be nitpicking this to death. And I think if this is what we're doing now, you simplified it, and it looks good, but you know,
Thank you.
you change the way you.
Mr. Grustum,
Madam Chair, we need to call them.
what?
We need to go into a
Okay.
break for
All
about
right,
10
can
minutes.
everybody hold their fire for 5 minutes, and we'll go into the next group, which is room 406. I'm going to call the meeting of the Sunshine Task Force Education and Outreach Committee back into order, and the time is 5:12. And I think we left the other room at about 5:07. So we're continuing with our discussion of the, and I will just, we have a nice gavel again. I will just continue the discussion of the brochure. So we were trying to decide what to do with what? Where were we? So, right. And so was it, Alice was going to combine procedures for public hearings on page 5 with SOTF hearings, which we reworded SOTF hearings on page 2, and we decided that procedures for public hearings could probably be reduced to one sentence, saying that the requester can petition the task force to see if the record is public, and we could add they also can petition the is it the city attorney, Ernie, that they can petition to see if the record is public? I think so.
Yes, because the city attorney, supervisor of records.
Maybe. So down in the middle it says about line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. About line 7 says the person making the request may petition the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force, and I would put, and also the supervisor of records in the city attorney's office. And the supervisor of records in CAO, city attorney's office. Mm-hmm. And we need for Chris to be here to get this. So we should maybe wait till he gets back. Chris, we just made another change, so if you could note it. On procedures for petitions for hearings on page 5, we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Down on line 7, it should read the person making the request may petition the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force and or the supervisor of records in the city attorney's office for a determination whether the record requested is public. And then we can just say the task force shall inform the petitioner within whatever. And I don't know what the response is from the CA, from the city attorney's office, but we could put that in. But I think this paragraph could really be shortened and merged with SOTF hearings on page 2. Okay.
I don't think you need to go into any depth about what the supervisor of records of the city attorney's office needs to do. They have their own track. You can mention that they could go there if they want to. Mm-hmm. Mainly, it's a brochure about what the task force can do.
Right.
Yeah, but I think, aren't we telling them what their rights are?
Yeah, what I'm just saying in terms of space, you don't have to go into great detail about what the city attorney's office, custodian of supervisor of records, is doing.
But we will put it in there that
they could go there, yes.
That they can go to the task force or the attorney. We don't have to put in about the time of the response.
Yeah.
We could say the task force report response should be timely and within 45 days. Should be timely and occur within 45, but in no case, but must occur within 45 days. Shall be timely. Wait a minute. TF response must be timely and shall occur within 45 days. Okay? Okay, what else? So Allison's going to add what we don't do. She's going to combine those two paragraphs. What else do we have to do on this? Are we through? Huh?
Public
Yeah.
comment?
Is there any public comment on our brochure? Seeing none, then we...
Oh, no.
Go ahead, I'm sorry. Ms.
Members of the
Ms.
public.
Grogan.
Two of us, quickly.
Okay.
First of all, the draft seems to repeat the word record, but the reason that I am here is regarding a meeting that I was denied access to. So record indicates to me written document. I'm not necessarily requesting access to a document, but to attend a meeting that I consider public. So perhaps that could be added to the brochure. Another thing that's unclear to me in reviewing the law that the brochure could be quite helpful in is to whom do I have to obtain a no that I cannot attend a meeting or obtain a record? Who is it that triggers my rights under sunshine? I asked the question of an independent contractor hired by the city to attend a research meeting and was told no. She communicated my request verbally, I assume, to a city person, but I know not to whom. Does that trigger my rights under the Sunshine Law? Do I have to submit my request in writing to attend a meeting?
No. You can make
Is
a
a verbal request
You can
of
make
an
a re-
agent of the city or an independent contractor of the city sufficient?
Do you want to take that, Ernie?
It depends, yes or no, depending on what the city contractor and what the arrangement is with the city. He may be doing a consulting job and may not speak for the city. On the other hand, he may be doing actually what the city wants him to do as an agent and may speak for the city. In each case, it's a little different. But in a situation where you have an outside contractor saying one thing, I would definitely go to the agency that retained that contractor to get clarification as to whether or not the contractor is authorized to say that or not. And if that's what the city's position is, then you could make a complaint with the task force if that's inappropriate.
Is a verbal reply sufficient?
It could be. It could be. But you got to then go to the department that has the contractual relationship with the contractor and advise them that this is what you've heard and what is the department's position on it. And ideally, try to get that in writing. But if they say, we agree, that's it, that's enough to trigger a complaint.
Okay. Clarifying that in the brochure would be quite helpful.
Yeah.
Isn't there a similar case like that before? If you recall.
There may have been, but I'm not totally clear on what is being requested. Ernie?
We have had in the health department, there have been advisory groups that have met, and there was a question of whether or not they were part of the policy body or not. But I'm not exactly sure if that's what we're talking about here. This is a little different. We're dealing with a contracting company that's doing business for the city. I'm not exactly sure.
Apparently, she contacted the city controller and obtained the answer, which was communicated to me verbally.
Well, maybe I'm not clear on what on the request. So if somebody could brief me on that, or maybe if you could you send. Oh, I'd really appreciate it, Ms. Grogan. Could you send us a memo? Because this is by no means a done deal. If you could send us a little memo with your concern in it, that would really help Allison and Ms. Washburn and me as we're doing our re-edit. And we'd love to. You can just send it to send it to sotf@sfgov.org, and they'll get it to us.
Okay. And I would also say that when this is finalized, and I certainly applaud your efforts, and we certainly need your assistance as community members, please try to put some link right on the front page of SFGov so that we know when we look at where to go to find this information, or at least ask questions. It was a fortuitous connection I had with Officer Chan. If I hadn't have met him on Monday, I was completely lost as to where to look for this kind of information. Thank you.
Anybody? Anybody? Doyle? Okay.
I think that, yeah, there should be something in the brochure dealing with public meetings, that
Yeah.
if a person attending a public meeting is denied the ability to make public comment or is not allowed to see materials that are being considered by the policy body, that there may be a violation. I mean, there should be some phrasing, regarding, what happens at public meetings. If you were denied the opportunity to attend a public meeting or denied the opportunity to speak, to provide public comment, you may be able to file a complaint.
Well, we have under key sunshine provisions, we have the second one is the public has a right to attend and testify at public meetings. Now, we have to say somewhere, if these rights are denied,
You can make a complaint.
meaning a right to obtain public documents and attend and testify at meetings. We say in number four, sunshine ordinance will hold hearings on alleged violations of these rules.
Yeah,
So-
but I think within the language of the procedures for filing complaints and so forth, we should
Put something there.
include meetings along with
With-
public documents, a kind of an even-handed basis.
Right.
Correct.
So
Okay.
people know those are dual missions of ours in the law.
Yeah, and I think I think we have it already.
Why don't we put it in as paragraph 2? Or, because SOTF hearings on page 2, the paragraphs refer only to refusals to produce documents.
Right, I'll make a point to work that in when I do my editing.
Okay.
Okay, public hearings.
Okay, Allison.
Remember, I appreciate you bringing that up because things have happened in our own neighborhood. Meetings, and we don't even know anything about. Next thing is a building going up or a park going up, and it hasn't been notified, and the city is on it with a certain group of people. So that is a problem out in the Visitation Valley. Next thing we know, we see bulldozers and things coming early in the morning, and we haven't even been notified of what's going on.
Okay.
And there's still a great problem going on. So because it is a friend of mine that started it, I just didn't want to bring a complaint against it, but it's a serious issue that they have meetings that they don't even announce to the community that's
Well,
going on.
when there is a project, they have to post notice
But they
of construction. Well, then they're in violation of city law.
I'm telling them.
So you should follow up on that. Okay, anything else?
Hello. My name is Brittany Tillman. I'm here on behalf of YBR Promotions to discuss creating a marketing campaign to raise awareness of the SOTF. Generally, I feel like in things that I've heard so far in the meeting today, that there's not very much awareness of the SOTF within the community, as well as within a lot of the local agencies with officials and with voters. So essentially what we wanted to bring to the table is the idea of creating a marketing campaign that uses both printed materials as well as online promotions. So using like posters, newsletters, postcards, as well as social networking sites online, online newsletters, and a website link. We found in promoting over 2,000 different events and different companies and such that making postcards and flyers is a really effective way to make information about the SOTF accessible to the general public, and also to direct them to a website, and making an association with different festivals like Love Fest or Gay Pride or different street fairs, different park events, where you can go and pass these handbills out to people to get them to be aware of the SOTF and to know about what their rights are within the city. A way to do this that's cost effective is to work with different printing companies that are doing like green printing, where they print on recyclable paper and like using soy ink. A lot of these companies are looking to have exposure and to be linked with different forms of different political campaigns and stuff like that. So a lot of them will do free printing in exchange for being able to, have their company shown as a sponsor of something like the SOTF. You can get volunteers or interns to pass out these handbills at different city events who are looking to get their feet wet in politics or to be able to put it on, their resume. And you can also get design interns that can not only do web design for you, but also do the newsletter as well as all of the design for the printed materials. So really, it's something that can be really cost effective. Also, in sending out an email newsletter that makes to all the applicable city departments, it makes them more aware of the SOTF and what the different regulations are that they should be abiding by. You can also send a printed newsletter as well, which helps create a sense of responsibility on the other officials' parts to stay aware and involved as well. So I just wanted to bring that to the table.
Thank you. So does anybody have any idea on how to follow up? Doyle?
I believe Mrs. Tillman has maybe a model that she could help us with, and to have us start out with stuff, or a presentation. I don't know if she was able to bring any of that today.
I didn't actually bring anything with me, which I can easily provide you with, different samples and stuff that people use. But essentially, what you would just need to do is put together a team of people. Interns usually work really well to have someone who's in charge of the design, someone who's in charge of the marketing, and then someone who just sort of manages whoever the interns or volunteers are that are handing out the materials and making a calendar of the appropriate events, and also different cafes and retail locations and stuff where you can stock those flyers.
Well, we really appreciate your input and your insight. Ms. Cohen, is that it?
Tillman.
Sorry?
Tillman.
Could you spell it?
Tilleman.
Okay, Tillman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Could you possibly put something in writing, something very brief in writing, so that we could know exactly what it is you have in mind?
Okay.
As Mr. Doyle suggested, what did you suggest, Mr. Johnson?
I believe that she's volunteering her time to come here today because she's offering to provide us with a model for us to get our feet wet.
I don't mind being a consultant to kind of give you sort of a step-by-step guideline of the way to go about doing something like this. I'm sure, as you saw with the Vote No on Prop 8, a lot of that was done through the same kind of marketing and did create a lot of awareness in the city of that prop. So we're kind of just looking at a similar kind of model whereby you use a simple form of marketing, person-to-person interactions, to really direct people to the website so that they can follow up on information and actually know where they can get information, direct other people there, and where there's just sort of one hub besides some brochures floating around here and there where they know they can go to find out more information and to get more information about being involved.
Thank you. I'll ask the question I always ask, and admit that I very much like what you said about companies doing work pro bono in return for publicity or a credit. We don't have any budget for this, and the city is running a $500 million deficit. So if you have any ideas for ways, at this point, I don't think it's feasible for us to think of doing something that requires a lot of capital.
Well, that's one thing, is if you work with printers that are doing the green printing, although it is something that's more and more expensive form of printing, it's starting to get a lot of notoriety around it and a lot of press around it. So a lot of people who are transitioning into doing green printing want to be associated, with someone politically or a place where they can get exposure for it. So that's something where people would be probably willing to print 5,000 to 10,000 flyers for free, which costs them very little, in exchange for being able to be a sponsor of the SOTF or, someone who's just an affiliation or a partner in that way. As far as getting the design work done and the distribution of the materials, there are a lot of people who are willing to do that for free because they're either looking to get some sort of a college credit as like an intern, or they're looking to be volunteers so they can get, their foot in the door with politics. So It really doesn't take very long to whip up a design for promotional material like that. It doesn't really cost the printer too much to actually print it, especially for getting the kind of exposure they would with something like that. And then also, people are looking to distribute those materials who want to be involved. I'm sure many people from different neighborhood associations and stuff would be willing to keep those materials on hand when they have their meetings, and other people, I myself would be willing to take them around to different cafes and stuff for free. So I know that
We'd
there are people
appreciate
who-
that. And, the first thing we need to do is get some copies of this before our presentation to the HIV Council. I think for that we could probably get some blue paper and scrounge some blue paper and use the Board of Supervisors Xerox machine. But for long term, obviously, this is a wonderful idea, and I wonder if Mr. Johnson could work with you to come back with something more concrete for our June meeting, and like the ways and means, and a few names of green printers and so
Yeah, we
forth.
can look up some different printers, also some different, designers and sort of ways to go about. I mean, whether it's Craigslist or other kinds of postings. There's a lot of different ways to
Great
get people
idea.
pretty familiar with some of that.
Are you going to be available in June?
June, what's the date? Probably, most likely. I believe I'll be here.
What's
Our
that?
next meeting is June 2nd, Thursday.
I believe I'll be in town, yeah.
When is our meeting's the second Thursday of June.
Okay.
I don't know what day that is.
I believe I am around then.
So I could get together with Mrs. Tillman, and if we just wanted to continue this.
Or if you get something, if you have something in writing, you could get it to Mr. Rustum at sotf@sfgov.org by the Friday before our meeting. He could put it in the package that's mailed out to all of us, so we could look at it ahead of time.
Okay.
What is it? Do you have a date? It's June 11th.
Okay,
So
I believe I'm
if
available.
you could get something out by the previous, what is that, 6th? Whatever, the previous Friday, that would be great.
No problem.
I would go for Thursday.
Huh?
Friday is printing day.
Friday's too tight?
So the Thursday before? No
Thursday afternoon, evening would be best.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, so it would be a week before our meeting, which would be 7 and 11 is 4. So if you get to him by June 4th, that's a week before our meeting. Yeah,
want her
great,
card.
okay.
Okay,
So
yeah, let me see if
we'll
I
put in
can-
the minutes that she agreed, Ms. Tillman agreed to get.
Do you have
to get
any cards?
Yeah, let me see if I have a card on me. I might be out, but let me check.
Wonderful. You could leave a card with Mr. Rustum. Well, we really, really do appreciate your effort to help us
I think it's a good idea.
do outreach to the public, and I appreciate Mr. Johnson's initiative in finding someone as talented and creative as you are.
She is focusing on being really simple and trying to direct the small wins, like Ms. Sorrente said earlier. You focus on one and you build up from there, so that we don't bombard, and we can't possibly put everything that the task force can and cannot do
Right.
on a piece of paper.
Right.
But this is like a beginning to
Exactly.
rejuvenate the task force and have awareness,
You know-
and hopefully bring more people to us.
Right.
Right.
This is more of a campaign strategy.
Right. Because,
No, it's very exciting.
I don't
Yeah.
know
Great idea.
when this was done, but it doesn't tell me the things that I want to know, and I think that we're just starting. This is the second. This is draft 2, and this is more focused toward the public, and then we'll have draft 3, and then we'll.
And this will
we'll
take
see
a
what
little
happens.
time too.
Yes, I mean,
so.
it takes time for everything. This is a complicated document, so, and I believe in simplicity, but I mean, you can get complex ideas in, but they will just come to us. You can't think of everything at once. So we've got our marching papers here on this, and Allison's going to do some, and Doyle's going to do some, and Ms. Tillman's going to do some, and we sure appreciate it. Okay, then we'll move on to the next item. If you could just read it. And by the way, a work plan is one of our last items. Under work plan, I think it's appropriate to discuss the room in which we do our work and how we can arrange to have some certainty as to when and where our meetings will be held. Okay, Mr.
Madam Chair, item number 7 is the use of vendors or third parties to respond to public record
Okay.
requests.
Is Mr. Bryant, is Mr. Smith
Mr.
here?
Bryant called me this afternoon saying that he would not be able to attend,
Okay.
but will come to the next meeting.
We'll continue this to the next meeting. Could you reflect that in the minutes, please?
Yes, Ms.
All right. So now we're getting to, oh yeah, number 8 is my thing. The planning department apparently requests appointments for people to come in and look at its documents. We were having an EIR process for the new library in North Beach, and the first document has come out, a 73-page, so it's 97 or something, work of art. But in any event, I read the footnotes. So every time they mention a document, they say, you may come in and view this document on appointment. So I'm thinking, that's not what the Sunshine Ordinance requires. The Sunshine Ordinance requires that you cannot require an appointment. So we need to convey this to them. So can we do it in a letter, and can it be done from this committee, or do we have to do it through the whole task force, Ernie?
Has anybody called? Sometimes a phone call can do the job. If that doesn't work, then we escalate to a letter.
Okay. Do
Ernie to call.
you want to call him?
Let's start with a call.
I don't know who to call.
And then,
It's the planning department, so who do you call?
who's the custodian?
Call the director's office and ask, who is the director? It's Ram. He pronounces it Ram. It's Rahaim. I think his first name is John. So call the director's office and ask who you should talk to about the Sunshine Ordinance. And then see if you can get some kind of commitment or written understanding from them that they aren't going to require minutes or appointments any longer.
Okay, Madam Chair.
And then we'll...
Then we should be aware of that. Then we'll have to take it up with the task force.
Yeah, if they continue to require appointments, they're violating the Sunshine Ordinance. And can we file a de facto complaint against them?
No, I did a memo on that. Usually you would ask one of your members to file the complaint, and they could not sit in judgment of their own complaint. But we've had Doug file complaints
So
before.
we find a member of the public who will do it?
Well, you could have one of your members do it, too.
Sorry?
You could file. Any one of the
I
members.
could file it, but then I would have to recuse myself.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind that. I mean, it's a clear-cut violation. So, tell them they are liable. I mean, I don't mean to be rude and unpleasant, but tell them that if they don't mend their ways, they are liable to a complaint before the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force. Okay, so we've got that, and we'll reflect my meanness in the minutes. And go on to the next. Someone's got to be tough, which is why I hope we're going to get down to, can we just switch to work plan, and then we'll go back to, let's do newspapers quickly. I mean, Chris accumulated a wonderful list, and from the, where are we? On page, where is it? Here it is. Yeah, I had an old media list from the city attorney's office, and I had another one. So that's why we have all these voluminous things. But what Chris put together is the neighborhood
79.
newspapers and all there. How did you get that, Chris? That's great. How did you get all their phone numbers? This is on page 79. This is just perfect.
This is a really great thing that you've put together, and it will be
The section
really
starts
helpful
on page
for me and Mrs. Tillman.
71,
plan
but
to email
we
people.
have the neighborhood newspapers on page 79, and then we go into the next one is, I'm not sure where that came from, but the last one is the city attorney's press list. But I was just wondering, Mr. Abrustrom, where did you get the information for the neighborhood newspapers on page 79?
From the Neighborhood Association website.
Okay. So do we need to know their email addresses also?
San Francisco Neighborhood Newspaper Association website.
Could we get, because I think, one of the things I thought we could do is approach them and ask them if they would like a piece about the Sunshine Ordinance. So we need to have some contact information for them rather than just cold telephone call.
Madam Chair?
So could Could you get an address, an email address for them? Do they have that?
So in many cases, they do have email addresses.
If you could get that, that would be really helpful. Marjorie?
Bayview on here. They stopped that paper. What are they doing? Putting it over the internet or something?
They're doing it online.
They put it online?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're still valid.
It's still valid,
Yeah.
okay.
Am I missing any newspapers? Am I missing any newspapers?
Sun Reporter.
Yeah, well, you used to be a reporter.
Sun Reporter.
So that's your neck of the woods. So if you could just get in, we can, maybe
so
somebody can think of
street
maybe you'd like
named
to run
after
there. Let's go back to your old stomping grounds, and because I know that when a lot of these little papers, they love filler stuff, and if you can write something very succinctly that says a lot, they'll publish it. So, anybody have any other ideas for media right now?
It looks like we're missing the newspaper for North Beach.
North Beach.
They don't know that there is one. There used to be.
Yeah, there is one. I get it every now and then.
What is it?
I don't know the name of it, but there's one for North Beach.
North Beach. There is one. I can't think of the name of it. Next time you get it, remember the name. Do we have
the
Marina?
Nob Hill Gazette too?
Oh yeah, but the
Very
Nob Hill Gazette is
fancy.
more society.
Yeah.
They're not interested in sunshine. I don't think. But
Like the Bay Area?
the Marina Times they're always looking for tight little items. I used to do a lot of writing for them.
He's asking right now.
And all these little papers are good.
Area. Reporter. That's
Bay
Marjorie,
Area
maybe you
reporter.
could. Marjorie,
Also-
maybe you could contact Mary Ratcliffe and ask her if she'd like a piece on. Ask her if she'd like a piece. Ask her if she'd like a short. Tell her 300 to 500 words on sunshine.
Well, I was going to kind of wait till we got this straight and see what I was going to
Well, we don't have to do it. But just you can contact her and see.
I think I'll do it.
I mean, because we can. Yeah, if you see her, ask her, and that would be our first contact. And then we
Isn't
can-
there like more newspapers than that?
There's a Du Bois Triangle newsletter or association.
Well,
I don't know if it's a newspaper, because I know there's a Du Bois Triangle association. Isn't there?
now,
It's a bigger list. I have
Yeah.
page 8. Page what? What page? Page 85.
North Beach Journal.
I don't even know if North Beach Now still publishes. North Beach Journal. I don't see North Beach Now. On page 85? North Beach Journal. But that says North Beach Journal. The contact is the same guy who publishes the Richmond Review and the Sunset Beacon. So I didn't even know there was a North Beach Journal. I don't think the paper that I'm thinking of in North Beach has a name like Alligator.
No, there's something that has North Beach in the title.
Right, but
It
I mean,
doesn't come out very often, or maybe
Right.
I don't get it very
Yeah.
often, but
Right.
I do get it sometimes.
we've had trouble sustaining a newspaper in North Beach, unfortunately. But I'll keep my eye out for one too. And we certainly have enough media here. It's just a question of going over it and deciding. So that's why I say starting out with the neighborhood newspapers is simple, because they're small and they're approachable. Okay, anybody have anything else on this?
No.
Okay, where am I?
Good.
Okay. Then we'll go on to the next
Item.
agenda item, which is the work plan. And just wait a minute. Bear with me while I catch my place. Okay. So the work plan I just put in there to remind everybody about what we do and what our what our scope is. It's pretty broad. Where is it? But now I'm not finding it.
The mission
thank
statement was
you.
the last thing.
Apparently it's the last page. So, yeah, take a look at it and think of other things we could do under these six items. But one of the things I want to talk about is I want to talk about what happened today, and I think it falls under this issue of doing our work, because it's hard for us to do our work when we don't have a meeting room. And we were told it would be half an hour to wait for this room, and actually it was 70 minutes. And when we did come in, we were not treated very politely. So what can we do to make sure that we have a meeting room that is scheduled for, that when we're scheduled to occupy a meeting room, that it's free for us? What can we do, Ernie?
What I think I need to understand is, does this body that uses this room, is there some type of proprietary interest that they have? Is this like a dedicated room for them, like the Board of Supervisors has their own committee rooms? I don't know. That's what I'm wondering. It sounded like they treat this room as if it's theirs, and they're just allowing us to use their room. And I just don't know what the arrangement is.
I don't either. I mean, I've been to committee meetings in this room as long as I've been a member of the task force.
Well, they've staked out this area here. These books are having to do with assessment and appeals, and
their entire back room is stuffed with their materials, and it's secured, meaning that you can't even go back there. That's why you can't use the restroom. So.
But we used to use the restroom, and they had stuff back there then as well. I mean, obviously, we're not going to be stealing their files, But that's a secondary issue. The primary issue is that when we have a room at a certain time, we should have that room at a certain time. So, what are our rights? Can we arrange for a different room? Because if this happens again, it's really very difficult for the people who come to the meetings. The fellow from the HIV Council told me he'd canceled another appointment so that he could come here, and nobody wanted to wait half an hour until we could have the room, and we'd have had to wait 70 minutes anyway. Marjorie, you have something?
I need to have access to a restroom to say other people do too. I mean, you don't know. I mean, if it's just washing your hands or whatever.
This is the Board of Supervisors. So who decides?
I mean, some kind of way that appears illegal. I mean, and it, just like you said, this is the public building.
This is assigned. This is their room.
Exactly. I mean, we never had the problem in our own meeting room. So why is this old judge's chambers the exclusive? I mean, there are other meetings. I've been to other meetings in here other than the Assessment Appeals Board. So,
we don't have to dump it on Mr. Lorente, because I don't have any problem calling Angela and say, what's
who are we going to call? I mean, I'd like to file a complaint with somebody. I don't know who to file it with.
Chris has just mentioned that this room is dedicated to the Assessment Appeals Board?
What?
Dedicated to it?
From my knowledge, this room is a Board of Supervisors room and being assigned to the assessment appeals.
So how come?
use it but them?
No, anybody can use it, but if they have a meeting, they get first digs at it.
Well, I think that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. So what we need to do is to look for another. Can we talk to the clerk of the Board of Supervisors? Would it be Angela we would talk to?
Yes.
Can you get us an appointment with Angela? She's a good problem solver. Why don't you get us an appointment with Angela, and Marjorie and I can go, and anybody else who wants to. And we'll just tell her this is a problem that we don't want to have to deal with, and we would secondarily like somewhere where we can use the restroom, but primarily we are a Board of Supervisors committee as well, and we need we need some certainty. I don't know, this has never happened before, and maybe it'll never happen again, but I think that we should definitely let people know our meeting was basically cut in two.
I could say this happened before. This happened before in the determination of the assessment of AT&T Park. and that they had hearings here, and it went over. So this is not the first time that, because they had a lot of people. They had some people here, but the last time they had this major issue, they brought in a lot of experts. They had a lot of materials. They had a lot of video, illustrators, etc., and it went long. And so I could see how, I don't know what the scheduling is as far as further assessment appeal hearings, but it's possible it may happen again. I mean, that's a reality.
Could we ask them to let us know when they think they're going to be over, and we can look for a different room?
When it gets to that stage, it's very difficult to find a room. All these rooms are all booked months ahead.
Well, maybe we should just find a different room anyway.
If we can find one.
What about room 408? That's a good room. Why can't we just book it ahead of time? We can change the time of our meeting if we have to, so we don't have this.
What I can do is I can see what slots are open.
See what's open, and it's better to have
secure it for the entire year and years to come.
Yeah, I mean
that's what I can do.
And I agree that they don't know, 5 months in advance when they're going to run over, but they might know 2 weeks in advance. But who did you say it had happened with before? You said something about Rec Park?
No, I'm talking about what was Pac Bell Park, then known as SBC Park, the baseball park, and then AT&T. There was a determination that it was overly assessed and that the ballpark people wanted their money back, and it was a major issue. In fact, it went to litigation, and so yes, this room was booked up.
But I think we should note this. What do you say, members? Should we note this to somebody, or should we let it go?
Because I don't like it when people play the sunshine lightly, and the way that she talked to you and was talking, I didn't appreciate it.
She's quite rude. She was really quite rude. I mean, I was just asking her friendly, like, if, considering we had to wait, could we please use the restroom next time? Ernie?
See, that's why I was saying, did they have a proprietary interest? And it sounded like they did. That's why I took it that she did. And so I know her, she's a pleasant person, but I think they're coming from a different vantage point. And so we just have to have an understanding what the relationship is. If, in fact, they have a relationship that has priority over ours, then maybe we should find another room. I mean, if that's the
I think so. Has it ever happened with any other Sunshine Committees? It never happened with the Complaint Committee for the 4 or 5 years I was chair. Never.
I can't say. I don't know.
I mean, is this a new time for this committee, Chris? I'm the one with this institutional memory. I do recall it happened with the task force. I don't know if it was a committee level or the full task force. I suspect it was a committee level meeting. Well, maybe Chris, you could look for another room. And do you think it would be useful for us to talk to Angela Calvillo? Okay. So try to find another room and let us know and report back, whatever.
Same time?
It's 4 o'clock on Thursday. It's good for everybody, right? Yeah. And it would be nice if it were a hearing room. Are we asking you to climb Mount Everest for us? Anyway, just see what's available. That doesn't cost anything. Okay, do we have anything else? No more business today? Is there anything else on the agenda? Seeing any public comment for items not listed on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, we're in adjournment.